All right, hello everyone. This is Rodin, and we're going to be presenting to you today Albion Online Auction House Snapshot, episode 6. All right. So today we're going to be doing something a little different. The last few episodes, we've been basically going very specifically into various crafting lines, kind of various production lines, various items, and how they're made and what the market looks like for them, stuff like that. So they're going to do something a little different. So I want to address, first of all, farming focus. I've had a few conversations with players about, hey, is it even worth it to waste your focus on your farm? It's a very subjective question, to be honest, because it all comes down to, well, if you weren't using your focus in your farm, what else could you be using it for? And does it have more value than what you otherwise would have gotten using it in your farm? All right. First of all, what can you use focus on your farm? So we're talking about your personal farm as far as your personal islands. So in the farm plots that are allotted to you, depending on the level of your personal island or guild island, honestly. So we're talking here in this example very specifically in farming. All right, and herb gardening, things like that. Okay, things that require seeds. Okay, we're not really talking about things that can be or animals that can be grown like in a pasture. So, for a simple example, I think it can be pretty complicated, or it can be depending on the animal that you're talking about. So for now, we're going to be talking about, for this very specific example, seeds and things that grow using seeds. Very specifically. Potatoes. Right now I'm using potatoes as an example because that is the highest tier seeds that I just happen to have available. I'm pretty sure I can grow all of the tiers by now. I'm pretty sure, but for now I just happen to have some. This is the highest tier that I happen to have. All right. So when we use our focus for our farms, what are we actually using it on? We're not actually using it to increase the harvest yield. We're actually using our focus to increase seed yield. So, well, that kind of, you may say, oh, that kind of doesn't make sense. Why would I even bother with being able to basically spend my focus on seeds? Well, because the NPC price of seeds is actually quite expensive, especially if you're starting out. For example, typically, if you were to go to the auction house and comparing the price of seeds there versus the NPC that's in your island that will sell you the seeds, it's typically half price. That seems to be a pretty fair estimation in general across the tiers. So, for example, the potato seeds, I think they're around 10k silver, or I'm sorry, like 8.5, something like that. And for here in the actual auction house, you can buy them straight up for 4,777 silver, as you can see in the screen right now. So, well, what's the conversion rate of that one? Well, so you have to be careful and you have to look very specifically at the types of seeds and types of things that you're growing. So for potatoes specifically, we're using 570 focus, 570. So when you use your focus to increase your seed yield, that basically guarantees at least one seed will be returned. Effectively, if you were to buy, say, a batch of 9 seeds, a single farm plot can be used to plant 9 plants, all right? If you were to use your focus every single time you plant a batch of seeds, you'll always get back at least that 9 seeds that you used if you use your focus. All right. So you can see right away that if you want to focus on farming operations, the ability to basically not lose your input, the seeds, is pretty critical. All right, because it saves you money. And it scales through time. All right, So by using my focus, I'm basically saving myself every single time that whatever the market cost of the seeds are. You know, I think it's better to use market cost as a point of reference versus NPC cost, since it's quite common to actually just buy the seeds from auction house versus NPC. Like for these potato seeds that I got, I didn't buy them from the NPC. I actually bought them from the auction house. Like I placed buy orders for them. I got them really cheap. So sell orders for these are like in the 4,000 range. Let's see how much they are for buy orders. Not that it's significant. It's cheaper, but it's not like super cheap. So it's still in the 4,000 range, which isn't bad. So it's like definitely half price of NPC cost. All right. So with that conversion, just of course we're only just talking about potatoes specifically for this example, and like farming plants. All right, not pasture animals. All right. We're getting a conversion of 8 silver per 1 focus used. All right. So that's the absolute like bare bones conversion rate right there. As far as, well, how does that compare to the other crafting activities? I actually don't know. It depends. But something tells me that this is actually a pretty low conversion rate. For me, the real value on this is, well, I actually like farming. So I actually just use my resources to do farming because it's super passive. And I like the idea that I can keep this engine running as long as I'm willing to buy the initial capital, to buy into the initial capital investment of seeds or baby animals or anything like that. I can basically keep going. Because you figure if you use your let's say again going back to the plant example, if you do one batch that you grow, you're getting back the seeds right away. So right from there, just from a seed perspective, you've already made that up. All right, there's no profit yet, but you've just made it up. On batch number 2, I mean, you can think of it as pure profit from that point. Honestly, I think. As far as when you think about the initial silver investment and the focus investment, it's basically all profit from there. You're not, because I'm no longer paying silver at that point. I'm only paying focus. But then it goes back to the same fundamental question: how are you valuing that focus, or if you are even valuing that focus? So for me, there's value in it. I definitely work around being able to use my focus on farming and reprocessing raw materials. Those are the main 2 things that I actually use my focus on. I don't really do a whole lot of crafting outside of cooking. That's the only actual crafting activity that I do is cooking. I like the volume, to be honest. I like the volume play on it. A lot of folks, ever since I started this series, and I appreciate everyone's YouTube comments and all, but I frequently get comments concerning, your activities are kind of lowball. Why don't you do gear, like GVG gear, guild versus guild gear? That's it's expensive. There's good margins on them and stuff like that. And I totally agree. There are good margins on them, but but you have to also look into that margin is literally just, it's not backed by volume. So there's not enough volume in it. However, I think the one aspect of the economy in Albion, very specifically in Albion, that I really don't have a grasp on, because I don't belong to a large guild. We don't do GVG, so I don't know what that very localized guild economy scene is like. I imagine it's actually very, very active. I imagine it's actually very rewarding to be involved in that kind of stuff. It's just something that I'm not involved with, and I can't really speak of from experience, unfortunately. Maybe someday, but not right now. I'd love to, though. All right. All right. So that was our kind of one thing I kind of want to discuss as far as farming focus. I thought it was a really good topic. I was actually talking about it with some folks, and I think for the most part, I'm basically just trying to plead my case as to why I actually like quote unquote waste my focus on farming. I actually just enjoy farming, to be honest. But from objectively, I agree that it's probably not the best use of my focus. I probably could be better off using it on more traditional reprocessing or crafting activities versus farming. I just like the passive nature of farming, and it feels worthwhile because it it's an engine that just keeps going. You just got to pay into it once. All right. So we're also, as you probably noticed right from the get go, we don't have our other screen of spreadsheets here. I wanted to change the format. I don't. I feel like I can actually serve the general community of Albion a little better if I engage the market in using a broader picture versus very specifically just like cooking one episode and tools in another episode. All these episodes we've already covered. But instead, I actually want to bring to this presentation something that I already do in another game. I do a very similar presentation for EVE Online on the actual trading, like the buying and selling, not production, but actual buying and selling of goods for profit. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'm basically gonna switch gears and bring to you guys the actual trading scene, or a show you guys what I do for my trading. All right, and I'm actually gonna start today. I literally just started this morning, a few hours ago, and we'll see how we are doing. Okay, so before we get started, we must establish the trading rules that I will abide by. All right. So it's very important to do this. This is something I learned from actually real life trading. Okay. It's a personal journey. Trading is a personal journey. So you have to be able to very clearly articulate to yourself why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and be consistent. You have to be in order to be able to improve your process. Because if you don't have a standardized process, you're not going to know how to actually tweak it. You're not going to know that an aspect of it actually needs tweaking. Okay? So we're going to go over our trading rules right now. All right, first one. This is a must for me, especially in a game like Albion where I cannot see market history of any kind. I'm going to focus on high volume items. Now, how am I going to be able to identify high volume items for the auction house? One part of that is going to be through general knowledge. Okay, so I know generally how the production line works, right? We gather raw materials from the game world, or we farm it from our islands, and then from there it gets reprocessed, and then from that reprocessing activity, it gets turned into actual usable items. All right. Of course, that's a very general statement, but for the most part, that's kind of how it works. Okay. So because of that, at least in the beginning, until we figure out typically where things are volume-wise and trend-wise, because we're literally just going to be doing this right out of memory. There's no in-game market history, so we have to go by experience. So we have to go a little slow, and we have to go for the tried and true methods first, as before going too crazy. All right. So with that being said, with that note on volume, I'm going to be focusing on raw or component items. So what do I mean by component items? So I'll give you an example. For cooking, we can take sheets of wheat, turn it to flour, the flour turns to bread, and the bread becomes an input for another food item. So using that, I would be interested in buying and selling the sheaves of wheat, or the flour, not the items that are made after that. Okay, because those would be the more high volume trades as opposed to completed items. All right, so that's a very, very basic example, but that's the plan for now. So these are absolute baby steps, guys. I'm not sure if there's anyone else out there that's actually doing any this kind of activity to scale, but I'm really interested to actually hear from folks that actually do like legit like buying and selling in the same auction house. That would really be awesome. All right, next one is concerning actual profit. We are aiming for a gross margin of at least 10%. So what do I mean by gross margin? So I mean buy order divided by sell order. What is the percentage difference between the highest buy order and the lowest sell order? So we're aiming for 10%. So as a premium account member, we know right from the get-go that 3% is used on the buy and sell side of the equation there. So we have to at least crack 3% to make a profit. Going at least 10% guarantees or gives us a little bit more wiggle room as far as making profit. Because just because you're calculating profit on the day you're making the trade doesn't mean all your orders are going to be matched. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean there's going to be a shift in price trend in the middle of your trades. So you have to take those into consideration, and give yourself as much reasonable room as possible. Now, because this game only uses silver, it doesn't use it doesn't have a gold, silver, copper denomination. All right, it just uses just silver. Depending on the actual cost of the item, even 1 silver could actually mean profit from a percentage standpoint. So please be aware that when I look at these things, I'm actually not too concerned with raw silver. I actually don't care about the actual hard silver number. What I do care about is the percentage. That's my goal, is percentage gains. That has more meaning to me versus silver gains as a process. All right. All right, we will log on at least once a day to manage the auction house orders. So it's still pretty passive because I log in at least once a day anyway to manage my farms. So it's just one thing for me to do is to check orders. All right. All right. So if you guys, this is episode 6. So I do intend to continue to produce these shows for you guys. From this point onward, we're gonna make picks today, and for future episodes, we're actually going to review our previous picks, see how we did. Did we make money? Did we lose money? We'll see. All right. So hopefully someone will learn something from this exercise. And it's a great way to learn. I'm basically learning with you guys by using this show as a platform for my learning. So yeah, it's kind of a selfish thing, to be honest. Well, not real. Yes and no. Like selfish in that I'm able to comfortably use a platform like this to learn publicly. I think, which is great, because then I actually get tons of feedback from folks through Discord and YouTube comments and things like that, which I really, really appreciate, guys. All right, so now that we've established our trading rules, we're actually going to go over some trades. I actually started buying these up, so that's one thing too. So we're going to go from buy order to sell order. We're not going to do sell order to sell order or nothing crazy. We're going to keep it simple from the beginning, but we will expand into more complex tactics like that, like relisting things, which I've done a couple of times to great effect, actually. Because there's no history, people can't get clued into what happened. It's bad. It's bad for those who actually bought the stuff I relisted. Good for me because I relisted it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to look at, guys, is Uncommon Hemp. Actually, let me see if I can just pull this from my order history. Oh, actually it all... Okay. It's like it all got matched. So I bought Uncommon Hemp for 70. Let's see how much we can resell it for. So I bought 999 units. Everything that I made today, guys, is in order batches of 999. Okay. Of course, some of these items can actually go beyond that, but I like 999 because actually I can use it as a standard order batch for basically any item. Okay, let's see how much we can resell this for. Oh Lord, that's a lot. Okay. So we acquired Uncommon Hemp for 70 silver, 70 silver per unit, and we can resell it competitively for 112 units. Let's see what percentage gain that is. So that's 38% profit margin. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Now, we bought 999 units of this. Is it feasible to actually sell 999 units within the 6-day order period? Probably. There's not a whole lot of 6-day orders at the top end. So that's probably possible. That's probably possible. All right, so right from the get-go, that's call number one. I'm going to go ahead and relist this right now. Get on my ox. All right, so we're going to recover all of our Uncommon Hemp and start selling it now. I know the game probably won't be looking into market or auction house improvements for a while. I mean, it should really focus on like more traditional gameplay improvements first. But a better auction house interface would be really nice, guys. It's just, it feels so clunky. Like this auction house, well, most auction houses feel pretty clunky, but I'm spoiled by spreadsheets. All right, so we're gonna sell now this Uncommon Hemp. Sure, we're gonna sell it for 112. So we're gonna get back 109,000 if we don't have to adjust the order, and that would have given us a 38% gross profit margin. It's not net, that's gross. Okay, great. Okay, the next item that I bought or made an order for, it looks like all of it got matched, is granite. Not the granite block, but the raw granite. All right, so I had bought it for 259 silver. And I can sell it for 273 competitive. Let's see how much that is. I think that's like 10% or so. This wasn't very high when I looked at it when I placed the order. So that gives us 90. So that gives us about 2% margin. You know what? I'm gonna trade through that. I'm actually gonna place this as 290, 289 even. Actually, 2%. I'm okay with that. That's fine. I'm okay with 2%. That's 2% net profit. So I'm gonna resell this at 273. So that's 2% profit for these items net. Some of you out there might say, "Oh, 2%. That seems awfully low." I'm okay with that. I honestly am. I'm more concerned with getting better at the process. I don't actually care too much about profit right now. I care more about having a good, solid process that I can repeat. All right, great. Next thing I had bought or placed a buy order for is carrot soup. It's actually a pretty healthy margin for carrot soup this morning. So I got some carrot soup right now. I bought it for 95. It got matched. 499 of them got matched. Let's see how much they're selling for. So 95 to 113. Let's see what the profit margin is for that. That's 16% net, or sorry, 16% gross profit margin. That's pretty good. I'm gonna actually maybe adjust my order here. Actually, no, I'm still top order. I just gotta wait. All right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and place what I got at 113. I'm gonna sell this at 113. All right, and the last item that we placed an order for this morning was titanium ore. And we bought it for 181. And we can sell it for 248 competitive. Let's check that out. So that's 28% gross profit margin. So I'm going to go ahead and resell what we have right now. We're going to resell for 248. All right, great. So we actually, with the exception of granite, it dropped. I'm okay with getting it for 2%. That's fine. If it fails, I can actually, if the orders fail, I can actually just use that for further reprocessing of the blocks I already have. So I'm not too worried about it at all. I'm not too worried about. And so one thing too that I'm pretty happy with. Choosing to focus on raw material and processed material, because if the orders fail or they go to unprofitable levels, I can actually just use them straight up. So that's using them is the plan B. Okay. All right, so I'm really happy with this format, guys. I really enjoyed showing you guys what I did for my trades for the week. All right, so we don't have a whole lot of cash. All right, so that's why But we'll stick to the rules that we've established for ourselves so that we can identify where we can improve. All right, so we can identify maybe an aspect of the rule needs to be changed, and we can pinpoint direct specifically to that because we follow the same process over and over and over and over and over again. All right, that's really all I got. Hopefully, I was able to explain my perception of the farming focus and why I use it, because I'll be honest, it may not be the most effective way to use my focus. I just genuinely enjoy the idea of farming. It's my bag. It really is my bag. And hopefully I was able to show you guys kind of the mindset of trading. Of course, I'm trading here in Caerleon. I mean, could you do the same thing in another city? Yes, of course. Mechanically, yes, you can. It's just you're probably not going to see the luxury that I experience here in terms of the volume present, which is, as a trader, you actually need that. You really need the volume specifically for the types of items that I just showed you guys that I was trading in. But if you have a particular niche market that you are pretty comfortable working in, go for it. You don't gotta do what I do, but hopefully you can learn something from what I do. All right, well, that's all we got, guys. So for our next show, we're definitely going to go over all of our trades and see how they went. Basically, if all goes well, that means I would have probably reached an average of probably in the neighborhood of 15 to 20% gross profit margin overall, as far as my overall kind of wallet size here. So the more we earn, the more trades we'll be able to do, and the more expensive items we can probably trade in, or at least to start to dabble in. Like some of the items here, like they only move, like, I imagine they're only listed like 1 to 3 at a time, but they're like in the millions of silver. It's like, ugh, I can't afford that right now. Like my main goal right now is to finish upgrading my island. I'm on just the last leg, just one last level to go. All right. Cool. Well, that's really all I got, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Albion Online Auction House Snapshot. Thanks, guys.